have your paper ready to write. So what we're going into is factoring. And the new term I just saw, which I absolutely love, is that we worked on the distributive property going forward. Now we're actually doing the opposite, which is undistributive. All right. So this is what everything that we just did going forward, and we put it into our hug. We're going to deconstruct our hug now. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So we talked about if you guys had 2 times x plus 5. Now we were to do the distributive property, so what would we multiply here? Okay. 2 times what? X. So I have 2x. And then I went through and did 2 times positive 5, which would give me what? Positive 10. So if I did the distributive property, you would come up with 2x plus 10. And that's the distributive property. So now we're going to deconstruct it and work backwards from here. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to find the greatest common factor. All right? For both numbers. So you're going to find the greatest common factor for both numbers. And when we talk about greatest common factor, it's the largest number that you can divide into both numbers. The second thing you're going to do is you are going to rewrite each item with the greatest common factor.
Teachers and students, please pardon this interruption.
On
I need the drama team to go to the gym with their black shirts at this time for their pictures. Again, the drama team
on the outside of the
with
parentheses.
their black shirts.
So you're going to rewrite each item
Thank you.
with the greatest common factor on the outside of the parentheses. So what does this look like? All right, what does this look like? If we took our 2x plus 10, so let's take a look at this. So we got our 2x plus 10. Now, for some of you guys who don't automatically look at 2x plus 10 and you're like, oh, I already know what the greatest common factor is. Like if we're kind of taking a step back, I don't know if you guys have been taught the tree or not, but I can look at everything that makes a 2. So I know if I multiply 1 times 2, I can get 2. If I look at my 10, I can do 1 times 10 to get 10, or I can take 2 times 5 to get 10. So when you look at that, you're going to say, okay, what is the largest number that can go into both of them? Are you guys understanding this so far? You guys should have been taught this like a long time ago. So 2 is the largest number that can go both into 2 and into 10. Are you guys kind of seeing how I'm working backwards right now? Yeah. So now, are you always going to have to write your little tree down? No. So since 2 is the greatest common factor in both 2 and 10, I'm going to take that one and put it on the outside of my parentheses. And then you're going to take a step back and say, hey, how many times does 2 go into 2x? 1 time. So you just have x left, right? So 2x divided by 2 is just x. And then positive 10 divided by 2 is what? What kind of 5? Positive 5. So this is undistributive or factoring out it. So it's doing the opposite of everything that we just did. All right, so let me give you another one. Let's give you 3x plus 24. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to find your greatest common factor in it. So if you guys know it off the top of your head, go ahead and put it on the outside of your parentheses. If you don't know it, you guys can create a tree like I do, or you can do whatever technique is taught to you guys. So what do you guys see as your greatest common factor? Yeah. Do you guys think 3 or something larger than 3? So 3 goes into 3, and then 3 goes into 24. So what number am I going to put on the outside of my bracket? Okay. So 3x divided by 3 is what? Just x, because 3 can go into 3 one time. Then you have got a positive 24. Positive 24 divided by 3 is what?
8.
Plus 8. Now here's a hint clue. If you were to create a tree, if you look at 3, then you know 3 times 8 is going to give you 24. So this is kind of like a quick cheat sheet on how to do it. All right. Now you can always go back to double check. So in today's assignment, I'll also, oddly enough, give you extra credit if you go back to double check your work. How do you think you can double check your work if you're undistributing it? How do you think you can figure out how to check your work? Distribute it, right? So let's take a look. So if you have 3 times x plus 8, if I were to do the distributive property, what is 3 times x?
3x.
What is 3 times positive 8? And isn't that the same as what we started off with? So you did it correctly. All right, let me give you another one, and you guys do it while I pass out today's assignment. So I have 12a plus 18c. Now don't get confused just because there's a variable there. It doesn't matter if there's a variable. You're still going to go ahead and go through to find the greatest common factor.
I think that one. Let's do that.
So now if you guys get to a point where you guys see like that you can't go any further, then you just stop. So what did you guys come up with 12A plus 18C? What did you guys come up with your greatest common factor, Cody? Do you guys agree or disagree?
Okay.
I got 6 here. I've got 6 here. I pull out my 6, create my parentheses. 12A divided by 6 is what? 2A. Positive 18C divided by 2 is what?
Positive 3 C.
Boom. If you went back and you were like, okay, let me double check. And the reason why I'm encouraging double checking is that as you guys start today's assignment, you guys are going to start seeing positive and negative integers. So you guys are going to have to know what it looks like. All right, so let's do a few of these together. Go ahead and take out today's assignment. We will do, let's see here. We'll do 1, 4, and 9 together. 1, 4, 9. 1, I feel very comfortable that you guys can do it yourself. So go ahead and do number 1 together by yourself. And then we'll come back and check. Take the time to go back and check your work. Do you have to do the my little trees? You do not have to do a tree. If it helps you, do a tree. We got it? All right, give them just a second. You don't have to do them all right now. Let's just do number 1 together. What is the greatest common factor?
7.
Yep. I got 7 here. I've got 7 here. So I'm going to pull out my 7. 7 goes 14x divided by 7 is what? 2x. 7 positive 7y divided by 7 is what?
1. 1y.
Positive.
Okay.
If I went back and double checked it, 7 times 2x plus y,
It's 14.
14x plus 7y. So I did that one correctly. Go ahead and do number 2 or number 4. Number 4 should be easy because we went over that in our review. Now be careful because this one has that negative 9 in it. So this is why you're like, hey, I should double check my work to make sure that I understand where's the negative, where's the positive, because we know that 2 different signs will always equal a negative. So now you got to figure out, yep, this is where I told you guys it gets kind of confusing. If you go to the success criteria, this is where you can see I can find all positive and negative ways to figure out expressions. To see if you did it correctly, you guys should probably go back and distribute. All right, what is my greatest common factor on this one? Nines? All right, so you guys saw how I stopped here. I could have continued on to 3 times 6, but since 9 is the greatest common factor on both of them, then I can just stop right here on my tree. So if I pull out my 9, I'm going to create my parentheses. 18e divided by 9 is what? 2e. Now this is why I keep telling you guys it's important to pull whatever's in front. I have a negative 9r divided by 9 is a what? Negative r. How many of you guys put a positive r down? And that's okay, because if you went back and did the distributive property, you would see that it was incorrect. And that's why it's so important that you guys go back and use that distributive property or double check. If you guys don't double check, that's when you guys are just freely giving me all of your stuff, all my points. Go ahead and do number 14. Or I'm sorry, number 9. This way you only get the greatest common factor, so you don't have to keep going through it. Does that make sense? So I love the fact that Cody came up and he showed me that he got a different answer, but he said it's still correct. The reason why it's not necessarily correct is because he didn't find the greatest common factor. He found a common factor between it, but then you can distribute even, you can factor it even smaller than what he did. So now you guys have three numbers to look at to find the greatest common factor out of all 3 of them. Yep.
Teachers and students, please excuse the interruption. Anyone in the writing club, please report to the gym at this time. Anyone in the writing club and the sponsors, please report to the gym at this time.
So now your A, B, and G will all go inside of your parentheses. This is just a little bit more time consuming, I feel personally, when you have to factor out. So go through and find your greatest common factor. Go back and check your work. Did you? Shush. Let me see it. Nope. All right, let's do it real quick. What is my greatest common factor?
2.
All right, so 14a divided by 2 is what? 7a.
7.
Positive 12b divided by 2 is what?
6B.
Positive 6b. Negative 16g divided by 2 is what?
Negative 8G.
Negative 8g. All right. Don't know if I trust you guys today, so I'm going to go back and double check my work. 2 times 7a is 14a. 2 times positive 6b is positive 12b. 2 times negative 8g is negative 16g. So you guys are right. Boom.